I try to give my son a balance of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through rap. So I try to listen to the things and the people that impart, some kind of fruitfulness, so that when he listens to anything, even if he's not paying attention to it, if he's being subconsciously programmed, I want him subconsciously programmed to go get it. I want him
Yeah.
subconsciously programmed to learn, to seek knowledge and wisdom. I want him subconsciously programmed to feel more powerful, not to find an enemy in someone who looks like him, like him, like him, like him.
What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village podcast, the official home for proud fathers and mentors. I go by the name of Dayo Holloway, always linked up with my boy Kev Hick. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm well, brother. No complaints. Woke up, bro. Enjoying the peaceful atmosphere of my dreamland. But I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
Good, good. Hey, same, staying busy, keeping the pedal to the metal, man. That's the only speed I know, man, is just go, go, go. How was your Father's Day? I know we went live,
Yeah.
you
It was
know.
good. It was real good, man. I just chilled, bro. I didn't do a whole lot. Not a whole lot was asked of me, so that was a good day, man.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, that day rest is something we all need. So I enjoyed myself. Got some nice gifts and kicked my feet up a little bit.
Good, good. That's what we all need, man. We definitely need that time to break, decompress, you know what I mean? So we can get back to it. But yeah, man, without further ado, we're gonna get into this next topic for this new episode. Uh we decided to go with hip hop and the black community. Something that a lot of our viewers, of course, ourselves have been a part of the hip hop culture in some way or another, whether a fan or, you know, trying to get involved with it somehow when we were younger, making beats or rapping or, you got a studio in your mom's crib in the basement or a little closet or something. We all try to tap into it and be a part of it as much as we could. Um, it's changed, ourselves as we became older. We either our taste in music changed or um we looked at hip hop differently or we got new artists coming in the game now. So uh one of the points we want to come up with and speak on was hip hop growing up. And the second point we wanted to make was, has hip hop been revolutionized for the better or for the worse? So, kind of look at that whole polarized spectrum. But yeah, starting off, man, like I began with hip hop growing up, you know. Hey Kev, let me hear a little bit about your story coming up. What was some of the first interests or some of the first influences that you had growing up when it comes to hip hop?
Man, quite honestly, some shit I probably shouldn't have been listening to. um, I think so. The first rap CD I ever bought was Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 99. My
Okay.
I was 7 years old. Uh, my head didn't even reach over the counter. In fact, I couldn't even see the top of the counter from where I was. I remember I grabbed the CD, walked that up to the counter, and I had long arms. I was a tall 7-year old, but I still wasn't tall enough to see over the counter. So I literally had to slap the CD above my head at counter level onto the counter, and the dude had to lean over the counter to see who just slapped this damn CD up on the
Wow.
counter. And
Yeah, super
yeah,
young.
East 99. I'm 7 years old, and that dude giggled and laughed, and then he let me buy the CD with the parental advisory sticker on it.
Wow, he
And
looked out.
yeah, that was my introduction to hip hop. I think I paid $14 or $17 for the East 99.
Okay.
And then I was a big fan of Scarface growing up. So, Houston's own
Yeah.
Rap Records, man, Scarface,
Yeah.
UGK. Oh God, I was listening to the worst of the worst as a very young kid.
Hey, shout out to Houston, man.
Yeah,
I spent a
so
little time there. Yeah, man.
yeah, I just to be quite honest, it wasn't the best influence on me. I felt like it fed my inner aggressions, and it gave me an outlet for those verbal aggressions, and the things that I was seeing and experiencing as a child in my real life kind of fit right into that. So for me, hip hop it was a reflection of much of the reality that I saw. And so being a child, you really don't have to do anything with that. It already that aggression, that energy, starts to exist inside you, or at least it's expressed in hip hop. So I felt like I could identify with it, even being a young kid. It felt like the energy of my big brothers who was in the hood hard. It felt like the energy of the adults I seen. It felt like the energy of everybody in the projects I knew. So for me, it felt real.
Mm,
Unfortunately, in my adulthood, I've realized that much of the reality that I witnessed and seen had as much to do with hip hop influencing it as it influenced hip hop. Hip hop seems, and as we're told, it's a reflection of our reality, but then our reality start to lend itself to to the energy and the ideas and the wisdom of hip hop. So it's cyclical. One doesn't exist in the absence of the other. They both are affected by each other, and so it creates a cycle of things that are very negative for our community. Which was a form that was supposed to be positive, and at one point was very positive. Now it's just a perpetuation of the worst parts of our culture. And unfortunately, I noticed that as a child, and the older I get as a man, I'm realizing that the dominant culture of hip hop is the absolute worst of our people. And so,
mhm,
while I love it, and while I have to dance and move to the beats, it's hypnotic the way music
mm,
controls you in many ways and alters moods and speaks to you. But at the same time, damn, man, I wish I had more to agree with. I wish it offered us more health, more wealth, more financial education, more fruitfulness. I think that too many of the messages are teaching young kids like me that the enemy is their brother or their neighbor or the kid that looks like them. And uh, that it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us in the future. It doesn't help us in the present. And so I do have an issue with hip hop. As much as I love it, as much as it's still my guilty pleasure to this day.
right.
It's such a love hate relationship with hip hop, man. I don't even know what to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. After looking at a lot of the shows and documentaries on Netflix and Hulu, just to get some background history on hip hop, its origin, where it originated, how it was created, how it continued to grow, and the things that it stood for in the Black community, in Bronx, and those other boroughs in New York. It being a new phenomenon, that Blacks didn't really, we always been expressive. We always had the creative expression and capabilities, and we wanted to, um, you know, kind of go a different route because we had a different story to tell. We had different feelings. We had different realities. So kind of to paint that, hip hop was, the greatest outlet to do so, and to kind of have creative control at the same time, and then obviously something that we created from other genres and other forms of music, and to kind of mold and shape something for ourselves. We felt proud about that, and like I said, it spoke to us in ways that it couldn't to a lot of different races. So, like I said, this the positive stories and the things that you heard or listening to early hip hop. Um, the things that created outside of the music. I mean, DJs were a big part of hip hop, the MCing, the different parties, the type of atmosphere it created, the graffiti artists, the break dancers, it was so much involved, and it kind of helped uplift the community in so many ways because, a lot of us, of our community in poverty, we didn't really have much to look forward to. Um,
Mhm.
the future was pretty dim. So hip hop gave us a lot of hope, a lot of things that, we could cherish, and it brought a lot of us together. So I appreciate hip hop for that. And it took us a long way, but a lot of other hands got involved. A lot of
Yeah,
people wanted to make a profit. Obviously we're in a capitalist society. So, the dollar rules. So they exploited us, and
yeah,
they found, people within the hip hop community to, you know as puppets to to
yeah,
to make those things happen. And when you coming from nothing and someone introduce you to this money and fame and lights and glamour, you take it without any question,
yeah,
and without the knowledge of, business savvy, um instincts, and not having the right people around you when it came to that, and to sniff snakes out and to know when deals are wrong. And you know what I mean? You're not really thinking about none of that, let alone trying to find somebody to, to read the fine print, a lawyer up, to have the right defenses for yourself. But uh, that's what we fell victim to. And it cost us a lot. It cost us the whole industry, to
yeah,
not have ownership, yeah, in something that big as, $1 billion industry, man. Like, so, like you said, growing up, like I said, hip hop was elevating, man, and you felt good, you felt great. Um, and obviously you had, the profanity, and we didn't call each other. I don't think we calling each other nigga was so easy after this hip hop thing took off. It was just crazy. Like we didn't understand how the culture and the influence we had, as it carried over to the mainstream, like the power, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And so obviously, like I said, we still enjoy it to this day, even though, like you said, there's a lot of negative implications to, people taking our art and controlling it, and having the creative control and doing
yeah.
as they please with it. Um, and having the appropriation that comes with it when other races get involved. So it's tough, man. Like, my dad kind of introduced me to a lot of, like, when he used to throw Tupac on and Snoop and Biggie, and I didn't really have rap albums or CD. Like, my mom was more on the R&B tip, um, things of that nature. So she didn't collect and buy those things, and she didn't really want me to have it. When, if I'm underage with explicit content on there, she
Yeah,
gonna give me the Walmart version. I'm like, I ain't trying to bang the radio joint, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to bang my CD player, and they gonna hear all the little cut ups from it being the radio version, and you get clowned. But yeah, man. So, you know, I I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it growing up. I didn't make critical decisions. I wasn't so critical of the content. I didn't really do a whole lot of analyzing and was like, hey man, why are they speaking like this about us? And you know what I
yeah,
mean? I didn't see how it was so divisive, and how it really made us think differently about ourselves subconsciously. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I guess the main issue with my main issue anyway with hip hop is that if you take any industry at all, pick an industry, and you put the least experienced, the most immature, the least qualified out in front of that industry to represent that whole culture in that industry, you will have a clusterfuck. And hip hop, by nature, is built so that the youngest and dumbest can go speak for the people. And
Mhm.
they are not equipped. They are not mature. They are not ready. They have no life experience, right? They have not been led. They are not good leaders. But they are the ones with the microphone, right?
Right.
Garnering the affections of millions and millions of people, speaking for on behalf of their people, their blocks, their hoods, their culture, their race. Um, the, But in no other industry do we put our youngest and dumbest in front of the world and tell them to create the rule and the sound and the culture and the platform for us. Creatively, hip hop needs to be given to the younger generation because they need to learn how to express themselves. But the power of hip hop, it's way too much power for the people who are the least equipped to lead each other. Right? These
Mm-hmm.
people, you got 16, 17, 18-year olds, millions and millions of fans just spewing whatever stupid ass shit that a 16, 17, or 18-year-old might spew. These young men need guidance, they need life experience, they need wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, but instead they have a microphone and $1 million. And
Mm-hmm.
so, very quickly, hip hop, which was first meant to empower us and give us a voice and show our creativity and be a way out of our, uh, you know, terrible neighborhoods, hip hop became rap very quickly. And once hip hop became rap, the cuffs were off, the rules were off, and as at that point we lost the I guess the structure that we hoped to have built with our culture and our pride and our love for each other, being at the forefront of that. The voice was about empowerment, about love, about pride, and you hand the microphone to the dumbest idiot in the room, and pretty soon it's about fucking bitches and killing niggas.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there was no regulation, right? There was no because it's an art form that was new. There was no regulation. It was just, oh, these guys are radical. They must be cool.
Mm-hmm.
We don't realize that those brothers been bought out. They've been bamboozled. Now they're selling out their
Yeah.
own people under the guise of rebellion, right?
Right.
Their rebellion was packaged against us. It was weaponized against us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, we've had generation after generation after generation of people who even know that it's being weaponized and still perpetuate those same things as long as they get a check.
Yeah.
Um, man, again, I love hip hop, but I can't stand that rap shit. I
Yeah.
think hip hop and rap have separated themselves from one another, and I'm a fan of hip hop, but man, rap is crap.
Yeah.
To be quite
Simply
honest, man,
put, yeah.
it does
Yeah.
not serve our people well. It does not provoke thought. In fact, some of these damn CDs that come out, you are stupider having listened to it for 67 minutes after you finish these damn CDs, man. And you the wisdom and knowledge that you have about life is almost never reflected in most of the stuff that happens and comes out in this music industry. And so it saddens me that it hasn't been a bigger part of the hip hop culture to guide these young brothers and give them real game and knowledge and pride, black pride, and teach these people about how to uplift themselves and their people. Instead, we've used hip hop as a propaganda tool to commercialize crime and self harm and murder and drug use and drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is not what everything rap is. And the worst critics say these things, and I would hate to perpetuate the same weapons against our people and our culture as they do the other side. But the other side is signing checks for you to do exactly this. So, you know, these young brothers think that they're rebels and they're just doing what they're being paid to do, is to shuck and jive against their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, rap and hip hop, I believe, are different. I've learned to separate them. I love some real good hip hop artists. I love
Yes, sir.
a good conscious rapper who understands that his voice means something and it should say something to his people. He's supposed to be igniting and empowering, motivating and inspiring his people to do something and be something great. And then this whole dope boy, dope dealer, dope user culture that we have, that these young brothers that get out of prison and you're a star just because you went to prison, so you must be hardcore. You don't have it in your
Mm-hmm.
mind to lead a group of three, let alone a group of 3 million. But this is who we give all of our attention to. And again, any industry that you give the stupidest, dumbest idiot, the village idiot, the microphone and tell him he's a leader, you're gonna end up in the dirt, and that's what hip hop has done. And so I'm extremely irritated with the overall hip hop culture, but rap specifically.
Yeah.
Um, But what can we do at this point? So much against us. Our people are still suffering every day. They still shooting us in the ass in the backs. They still beating us down like Rodney King. And these young brothers ain't got nothing to tell us but some fuck on your bitch, and
Mm,
whatever else stupid ass thing. It's like, come on, bro. Everything that you speak is war against your own people.
yeah,
But you,
genocide.
yeah, but you would criticize a young brother for sleeping with a white woman or sleeping with somebody outside your culture. You say, "Oh, that's a sellout." Well, which of you influenced 3 million kids to take syrup or lean?
Hmm.
Which of you influenced 14 million people in your platinum record to shoot somebody that looks just like them because of a block that they don't own, that's owned by a white person who's probably
Yeah.
also kicking out the check for you to tell each other to shoot each other?
Hmm.
Like, which of you have has really sold out? The guy who's dating the white women that you keep trying
Yeah.
to take the black card from, or the guy who's destroying his own community and
Yeah.
teaching others to do the same?
Yeah.
I don't give a damn who's having sex with who. I do give a damn about who's teaching my sons that his brother, his enemy, or his enemy is his brother. Like, I care about that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And man, we have so many issues in this hip hop shit. I don't know. I could go forever, man.
Yeah.
You should probably get me back on track because it's pissing me the fuck off thinking about it.
Nah, I hear you, man. Nah, I'm glad you shared that for real. Yeah, it's definitely put us in a handicapped state. It's disabled a lot of our minds. It's hard to reverse the result of this rap culture.
Right.
And I think the only silver lining that I see is the fact that people can be more independent these days with the age of the internet.
Yeah.
How the game has changed, and we can take lessons from how Soldier Boy kind of took off, using the YouTube platform, and uh, and just look at the way the business was handled, the marketing aspect of it, and just taking some of those lessons and applying it to hip hop, you know.
Right.
And I think, like I said early on, we have to demonstrate and show our kids that, hey, we were victims of this in some way or another. And look what it's done to the community. We have to show examples, and let them understand, like, hey, this is wrong. You know, let them know that, hey, if you kind of break this down, hip hop was used, or excuse me, rap was used against us. Listen, have them listen to the lyrics, understand what they're saying, like, and ask them, like, hey, does this sound right to you? Does this sound correct? That's what we're fighting. And then
Yeah.
have them listen to the other side of hip hop when it comes to J. Cole, when it comes to Nas and K. Dot,
Yeah.
Common, and a lot of these other rappers. That's um,
Lupe's my man. Lupe solid, bro.
yeah, exactly. Lupe, Crit, he's
Crit,
one of
big
my
crit.
favorites.
Yeah,
That's right.
big crit.
You know what I mean?
Big crit
Um,
was here.
yeah, that was, a big record. So we can kind of just have them look at both sides, and have them choose, okay, what are the feelings you get from this song?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? What are your thoughts from listening to this song? And
Is
have
this
them kind
person
of, yeah, and have them,
is this
okay.
is this person speaking life or death to your people?
Right, right. So why would you bob your head and put this song on repeat, and then kind of tell them, like, subconsciously, yeah, you might know it's wrong, but if you still engage with it, listen to it over and over, it's beginning to be programmed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And this is going to be kind of second nature for you to think this way about certain people. And before you know it, you kind of saying some of the same things.
Yeah.
And some of these things that you hear, you kind of let pass, as passive aggressive, knowing you should have nipped it in the bud. Like, when people have conversations about these things, you guys say, hey man, nah, we don't speak about people like that. And I don't
Yeah.
handle my business like that. Or,
It's
I don't treat
subconscious
women that way.
programming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subconscious programming.
Yeah. So when you see the videos, now you're putting images, to these thoughts, and you're driving home these negative reinforcements, like, hey, we got liquor pulled up, we smoking weed, doing drugs, pill popping, you know what I'm saying? these women are being exploited for, you know what I'm saying, their sex. And you count money. I don't know how you got all the money, but you got all this money you holding up to your
You
ear and all this.
you sold out your damn people to get all the money. You
That's
pushed
yep.
poison to your community to get all the money. You've misled your youth to get all the money. You've
Mm-hmm.
literally raped your own culture and taken from your own people to get all the money. And
Mm-hmm.
while we listening to these idiots talk about the drugs and the fucking on your bitch, as they say, and the pimping and the hoeing and all of these stupid ass things, while we listen to that, and while our children, if we're not careful, gets hold of that, you know what they listening to on the other side? Power,
Yeah.
politics,
Yep.
finances,
Mm-hmm.
financial education,
Exactly.
how to figure out how to structure government systems. They listening to power, and we're listening to poison. And that's the difference. And when
Facts.
you start looking at, our condition as people, that you are that which you take in, right? That which you
Mm-hmm.
do most is that which you do best.
Mm-hmm.
So if all you do is poison yourself and then perpetuate those same ideas in everything that you do and everything that you wear and everything that you think and say, that what you do most is that what you do best. And we have
Yes.
become very good at poisoning ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
brainwashing ourselves and exposing ourselves to the worst parts of our community. Right?
Yeah.
That what you do most is that what you do best. Whether
Yeah.
you're the guy who's rapping or the guy who's singing the song, right?
Yeah.
Or the guy who's being indoctrinated and brainwashed into thinking that your own brother and everybody with skin like yours is your enemy. And every
Mm-hmm.
woman that looks like your mom is a bitch and is your
Yeah.
enemy and doesn't deserve respect. Oh, and let's not forget the simps. How dare you respect a woman? You a simp. And that's in
Mm-hmm.
the right. Pimp worship is in the music. What part of the game is that? What part of the game is despising the life givers of our community? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of shit is that? That see, I can go on. Like,
See,
bro,
that, but now you brought
it's
up a good
it's
point,
so backwards, bro.
because a lot of what has happened to the Black community also was on the big screen, and
Right.
we have these same films coming out every year, kind of putting the light on the negative of the Black community. You know what I mean? Like, we know that story, we've sung that song.
Yeah.
Let's come up with, even if it's fantasize, or if it's not all the way fictional. What if we dream about not being deprived, and what if we dreamed about having our own community, our own city, our own
Yeah.
this, our own that, having ownership, having
Yeah.
our own capital, and what if we had more films that way? I
Yeah.
think. And then you have a soundtrack out, and now you have music to kind of match that at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got, your mind's going to shift, and you
Yeah. Change the
repeating that
program.
over and over. Yeah, you know what I mean? People are talking about that. Now that's a conversation. And it's hard to twerk to some uplifting type music. So that's not what
Yeah.
you do when that
Yeah.
song come on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um, yeah, man. Like I said, it has to be a paradigm shift, man. And like I said, as far as a silver lining, at least rappers these days that are more conscious and more self-aware, um, and more community focused,
Yeah.
they can create their own platform. Don't need a handout. Don't have to worship, the white man, or who else is in charge beside ourselves. And get out here and get it on their own, put their own message out there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I see that could possibly deter and change the direction it's been heading, and putting the power back in our hands, and you know what I mean, and uplifting ourselves more.
Again, though, me and you, at 30 and up, we've understood, through having our own families, that we want our children to wake up and live in a certain type of world, especially a black world, right? In the black world that they live in. It's not that um, it doesn't appear to be that promising that they will grow up in a black culture that loves itself and that respects itself. And the biggest impediment to that I see outside of the oppression and the systematic racism that we have to battle on a day-to-day basis. If we didn't have enough against us, we have our own people, being indoctrinated willingly by again, the village idiots, the worst of us, the people who don't have any pride and culture and purpose, people who aren't are speaking for any reason outside of making money off of the poisoning their own people, but they're poisoning themselves, so they don't see it as race trading. They don't see it as damaging or stealing and taking from their community. They don't see it as misguiding the youth. They see it as keeping it real. And at the moment that we adopted poison and toxicity as real, and we adopted success and prosperity as fake or selling out or acting white or whatever idiot idea that we've assigned to people who don't appear to perpetuate the urban hip hop or rap culture. We were already shot in the foot, and so I feel like I love what I'm seeing from some of the older rappers that have grown and that have continued to evolve as people who didn't stay in their dope boy mentality. To be quite honest, I'm actually a big fan of grown conscious Ti. Like that
Okay,
brother
yeah.
has grown. Now I remember Ti Rubber Band man. Like I was
Yeah.
that was my favorite rapper in high school,
Right.
because I was
Same here.
young gold teeth, hoodies every day. Like I was on it.
I remember
But
that.
but as he's grown as a man, in raising a family, you can tell that his values have changed, right? And
Hmm.
now when he raps, he's still as talented, but that brother has something to say. He's trying to lead the people in his own way to a better future, and he's trying to provide a lot of content that would intrigue a man to think more, right? So I'm really enjoying the evolution of men, but we find that in every industry, the most experienced, the slightly older, the more experienced are the ones who should probably have the microphone.
Yeah.
Hip hop is just not a young man's game, and so unfortunately, I feel like it will continue to be weaponized against us until our young people somehow or another are influenced enough by the older culture to develop a habit and a way, have enough admiration for the older generations and the wisdom that comes from those generations to really to seek to speak from that place. But until our people on large scale start to seek knowledge and understanding and wisdom and growth, the young people will come out and spew toxicity. And I really don't know what the answer is, to be quite honest. I wish I
Yeah.
did. But while we poison ourselves with our music and distract ourselves away from our realities, they shoot us in the ass and back. They systematically oppress us. Um, every
Yeah.
every industry, every infrastructure in this country is built against us, in spite of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our own industries that are hand are we have our own industry puppets that are handpicked to further destroy the youth so that we don't have a future and we don't have a past. Um, uh, I don't even know what to say about this shit, man. It's sad because I love hip hop and I love what the potential it has. I love the potential it has to help, but I hate what the result of it is. In the absence of management and guidance.
Right. That's true. What before we wrap up, as your kids are getting older,
Yeah,
obviously they're gonna have more access to music and all kinds of entertainment. What are some things? Are you setting any parameters? Are you kind of like, all right, when you were daddy, you listening to this music, and I mean, because the older they get, the less control, the less monitoring you're gonna have. They're in and out the house. They with friends. They listening to whatever it is that those kids listen to.
yeah,
Um, like we spoke on before. As long as you're bringing it up as a part of the conversation, that's you really have to plant that seed of just thought and just have them kind of think
right,
independent of just listen to just blindly
absolutely,
unconsciously listening to stuff. Like they're gonna listen to it and that's fine, but it's like I said, if you don't have a conversation, it's not brought up, and you don't
Yeah,
help them think through what they're listening to,
absolutely.
then you're not doing a great job with that. But well, what are some things that either you've done or that you plan on doing as they
Well,
grow older?
I think I try to make sure that I represent and I embody the type of energy that he might encounter in hip hop that would increase him.
Hmm.
And the music that I listen to, around my sons, I'm not censoring and trying to fluff his existence with a candy coated rainbow type of thing. Like
Yeah,
he's going to experience worse things than he might hear in my house, and I'm not really one of those parents who doesn't curse. Like, I listen,
yeah.
it's real out here. You know what I'm saying?
All
So,
day.
while I might not censor his experience too much, what I do is make sure that the music that I play in front of him, it exists within the reality of thoughts and feelings and ideas that I would also want to impart upon him. And so, I use it as an energetic soundtrack to the things that he might experience with me. When I'm riding, he might hear Lupe Fiasco, you know what I'm saying? And he's gonna hear
Hmm.
some Erica Badu. He's gonna hear empowerment rap, or even an ambition rap. And sometimes I can get a little bit crusty, but the mood is what I'm setting for him. I'm setting a mood of ambition. I'm setting a mood of power. I'm setting a mood of education. The most deaths, the Commons, the Lupe Fiascos,
Hmm.
the Conscious Ti. I think that Us or Else album he put out was insane. I
Okay.
think a brother listened to that Ti Us or Else album. That was rough.
All right.
And he was spitting game the whole album, just breaking down legislation and all this stuff. Man, it just there's always something you can listen to. People like that Jay-Z 444. You know,
Yeah, that was dope.
these brothers that have grown up into real men and now have something to actually impart. Well, when they were young, they wasn't talking about shit, but
All right.
that's when they got popping, right? So
Yeah.
I try to give my son a balance of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through rap. So I try to listen to the things and the people that impart, some kind of fruitfulness, so that when he listens to anything, even if he's not paying attention to it, if he's being subconsciously programmed, I want him subconsciously programmed to go get it. I want him
Yeah.
subconsciously programmed to learn, to seek knowledge and wisdom. I want him subconsciously programmed to feel more powerful, not to find an enemy in someone who looks like him.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm always thinking about the subconscious, and I'm always making sure that the energy in the music isn't death, but it's life. And so
Right.
that's how I kind of regulate it. But the word for word, I don't. What I want him to do is experience everything, understand it. Obviously, like you was talking about, have discussions about it, figure this shit out together, so that he doesn't have to interpret it for himself and then go out and try to live an alternate reality based on what he thinks somebody might have meant. I'm qualified to break those ideas down for him. And so as he gets older, we'll speak about those things, and I'll help him
Hmm.
interpret, what's going on. And I always educate him when I hear rappers say some dumb shit. I always go on rants when I hear them start talking about lean and syrup and
Yeah.
wheat pills and Molly and X and all of this dumb shit. I'll always point out these flaws in the music because I need him to understand that these people are not those role models. These people are not our leaders. These people are people who need leading. They need guidance. They need help. They need education. They need wisdom, knowledge, understanding. But instead, they've been given a microphone and $1 million to mislead him.
Yeah.
I got to be his hero, and I'm making sure that every day I'm a man who deserves that spot, and I take that responsibility very seriously because nobody, and I mean nobody else, is gonna raise my sons but me, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest point, man. You got to raise your sons, and give them what helped you, and leave everything that did, man.
Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, I do the same thing, man. I try to change the playlist more. And I haven't been listening to music as often as I once did. Uh, for one point is because I'm so busy and I'm educating myself and reading and looking at YouTube
Right.
shows and other podcasts. Uh,
Audiobooks. I'm doing
right.
audiobooks instead of music
Yeah,
these
audio.
days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot to and from work during that commute. Cause I had Rich Dad Poor Dad on audiobook. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, that's another thing because we kind of walk that thin line of hypocrisy when we telling them, okay, this is what you need to not listen to, and
Mhm.
when we sometime indulge in that same act. So we just got to be mindful of that. um if you're gonna play it, just try your best to keep it at a minimum, especially if they're around, and be willing to explain, okay, this is what I'm listening to. Let's go talk about what what these lyrics are about, and why they're bad, and what's a better alternative, and things of that nature, and have like alternative music ready to go. Because okay, Dad, what do I listen to? And if you kind of like, well, shit, I don't know, then it's, what I mean, it's
Yeah.
we're not finding a solution to it. So be ready to have a conversation. Kind of do some digging, and ask some other folks in your community that you're around, that you're familiar with. Hey, man, what's some other alternative hip hop that isn't about the bullshit? It doesn't involve twerking and all kind of what I'm saying, negative things that involve our community, man. Because it's a lot of stuff out here. Spotify, Title. I mean, they out here. It's really not hard to find these.
As long as they getting it from you though, they getting the game from you, and again, you exercise every fiber of over, as it regards to being a hero and being somebody they look up to. Um, they'll always reconcile the reality being told to them with the reality they've experienced. So it keeps just like me and you. The people who loved us were more influential than the people we heard or listened to, even though we love their music. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
your dad's a great man. Your mom was a great woman, man. And those
Thank you.
you never had to figure out, oh, who do I listen to? Do I listen to Scarface or Mom? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's because you had parents that you loved and respected, and so that's that our duty as fathers is just to be parents that are deserving of that respect and that have used our voice to not only give love, but to explain the world around our children for them. And just being on top of your job. It's not as critical for you as it is for a young man who doesn't have a father, who then is listening to the bullshit and
Mm,
accepting that as the reality because he's been told and he's been shown no other alternate, right? So
mm,
I think our kids have an advantage over the young men who don't have fathers or mentors or big brothers uh, that help them, because our kids have somebody that will ultimately show them what manhood is, and the ones who don't will be raised by hip hop, unfortunately. And we've seen, the work of hip hop as a parent.
mm, definitely, definitely. Oh, those are gems, man. Those are gems. Another great episode. I think we hit some great points, some great topics. Uh, hey, family, continue this conversation. Bring it up with your people, with your folks, those that you're close to. Have these conversations, man. They're important, and we all need to hear everyone's perspective, everyone's thoughts on them. So we're at the Fatherhood Village on IG. If you missed us going live on Father's Day, we'll definitely do that again here in the near future. We're on Twitter at Fatherhood News. Catch it there as well. Yeah, man. Hey, give us some feedback. Let us know how y'all doing. As always, man, we're your hosts for the Fatherhood Village. I'm Dale Holloway. That's Kev Hick. Peace and love.
Peace and love.